For years, I thought healing meant becoming a completely different person. I thought one day I'd wake up and the anxiety would be gone, the grief would be gone, the trauma responses would disappear, and I'd finally feel normal. But that's not what actually happened.
Welcome to my channel, This Way to Bliss, where I hike and explore and car camp in my hybrid SUV and heal through nature, one hop, skip, and step at a time. Hi, I'm Candace Shea Frazier. This is my story of growing through grief instead of giving up, resetting my nervous system, and breaking my addiction to chaos and confusion. Out here, I found the strength to keep going and the first sparks of balance, bliss, freedom, and fun after the fallout of divorce, loss, betrayal, and abandonment. I have so many adventures to share, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
What happened instead is I learned how to stop abandoning myself. I learned how to regulate instead of react, how to ground instead of spiral, how to follow the awe instead of fear. And honestly, that changed everything. If you've been following this series, Traversing the Trail and Hiker Higher Wisdoms, then you've seen quite the journey. What started as hiking videos and adventures slowly became something much deeper. And at the time, I didn't fully understand what I was doing. I just knew I couldn't stay stuck inside of my pain anymore. So I started getting outside. I started walking, driving, exploring, sitting by rivers, watching sunsets and sunrises, journaling it all, crying, breathing, beating pillows, and little by little, I started reconnecting with myself again. Now, looking back, I realized nature became my nervous system reset, 100%. It helped me to move out of chronic survival mode and into regulation and safety. Not perfectly and definitely not overnight, but consistently. So what I understand now is that this whole journey was really a hero's and heroine's journey. And not in some dramatic movie sense, but in the deeply human sense. I had to walk through fear, through grief, through heartbreak, through loneliness, through identity loss. And you know what? Somewhere along the way, I finally stopped waiting for someone else to save me. I stopped looking outside of myself for safety, love, worthiness, and peace. And I started building those things within me instead. The elixir I found wasn't perfection. It was self-trust. It was learning how to regulate my nervous system and how to ground myself, how to stop feeding those emotional spirals and spinouts, and how to follow awe instead of fear, and how to create safety inside my own body again. That's what this series has really been about. Moving from ow to wow, from survival to sovereignty, from suffering to safety, from reaction to response. And now I'm no longer living in the vicious cycle of trauma. I'm now living in a cycle of regeneration, recalibration, and resetting my groove. Now that doesn't mean every day is rainbows and sunshine. Some days it's crying and breakdowns and breakthroughs. So I just want you to understand that there are a lot of lessons here that I've been sharing of what helped me. Number one was nature. Nature interrupted the noise in my nervous system. It helped me to focus on the awe of right now. And in that movement, I stopped trying to think my way out of pain and started moving my body through it and releasing somatically and energetically, physically, mentally, all of what I had been holding. The third thing is awe. I realized healing wasn't just about processing pain. It was also about retraining my brain to notice the beauty again and rewire the neural pathways that had been crumpled. This was huge for me, not only psychologically, but spiritually and physically as well. Like, I had been in a functional free state for so long, I was learning how to thaw out and come home. The number 4 is your self-abandonment awareness. Now, I had started to notice where I had kept abandoning myself by trying to earn love, safety, or belonging, and proving myself. That wasn't proving anything to myself other than you're still in a fawn response. You're not in flow. So I had to learn how to get into flow. And that's where number 5, your nervous system regulation comes into play. I stopped asking myself, what's wrong with me? And I started asking, what happened to my nervous system? And that is what shifted from blaming myself as a victim and finding the path for victory. And 6, adventure. Adventure actually is what became evidence that life was still worth participating in. Because one of the things that you might have saw on the journey, if you saw the one where I went to Mount Shasta at the beginning, was I was in a state of hopelessness and I had some really scary ideations going on. And in that moment, I intuitively sensed that what if I gave my brain the full scenario of playing out that ideation? What would happen? What would I miss if I took that action? What was beautiful to me? What brought me joy? What filled my cup? And that's when I realized that nature, art, animals, and being in that creative flow and passionately following my human nature to love and nurture. And instead of now doing it to everybody else, I started pouring it inward to me. And that was self-love is self-care, and self-care is self-love. They go hand in hand. So how we're doing that is how we're doing everything. That's a whole other thing to get into. But anyway, one of the biggest things that I've learned out of all of this was that healing isn't going to mean that you don't ever get triggered again, because oh my gosh, you do. It just means that you're going to respond and recover differently. You respond differently because you become aware faster and you stop drowning in those negative emotions. You learn how to come back to yourself. Now, the anxiety still visits sometimes, the grief still visits sometimes, even fear still kind of throws me off sometimes. But now I know how to meet those moments differently. And honestly, that's the emotional freedom and emotional resilience pieces that I talk about. So what's next for the channel? Where are we going next? So going forward, the channel is going to evolve a little bit. I'm still going to be sharing my adventures, still hiking, still car camping with my cats, still nature therapy. But now we're going to be moving into more conversation like this about healing and becoming whole again, nervous system regulation, self-love, trauma recovery, burnout, reinvention, regulation, learning how to trust yourself again, and also learning how to build a life that actually feels good to live in, that you're excited to wake up to and have energy to traverse it. Because 3 years later for myself, I can honestly say I didn't become a different person. I simply became more connected to who I really was underneath the survival mode. So if you're in a season like that right now, where everything feels heavy, you're fighting out of freeze, fight, flight, and you just feel lost and disconnected, you're hopeless, and maybe even struggling to find reasons to stay, I just want you to know something. Healing does not happen by forcing. Sometimes it starts with one small moment of awe, one walk, one sunrise, one breath, one choice not to give up on yourself today, to grow through the grief. This way to bliss starts with one small step at a time. Sometimes you're hopping, sometimes you're skipping, maybe even you're jumping, but just that one small step, because all you have is right now. And in that right now, if you can learn how to, not learn, but practice the embodiment of focusing on what's wowing right now, that will help you alchemize that ow, because the ow is your body and brain trying to keep you safe from more of the same. Ooh, that kind of fun. I like that. That's a write it down. Anyway, this is about learning life skills, and it's elevating your literacy from being illiterate about what is self-love, self-care, self-empowerment, and self-mastery to who am I? And what is it that helps me embody love, presence, and purpose? What is my transformation path as I learn to reset my groove from ow to wow? These are vital questions to ask. We're going to go in more and dive more deeply into them. But for now, make sure you get outside. It's okay to be an outsider. It's actually very beneficial. You don't have to keep fawning to fit in. It's okay to feel your own flow. And it's okay to let go, even though there's parts of you that are probably saying, no, I want to hold control. And I just want to remind you that's normal on this journey. That's your nervous system trying to keep itself safe through power and control. But the bigger flex is when you learn how to create safety through not seeking power and control, but through being present with your own passion and purpose in the right now. Because yesterday's gone. Tomorrow hasn't even happened. All you have is what's right here. And right here in that right now, you can simultaneously have the pain of what's not in alignment, but also have possibility towards what is in alignment and what will create peace. And that's my passion. That's what I love helping people do. As a habit change and transformational strategist, I know how to set the GPS from point A to point Z and map it the whole way through. So I hope that inspired you and gave you hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel, even if you don't feel it in the darkness right now. Take it from someone that's been on that path. I didn't think I would ever find rainbows and sun again, but I did. And it's possible for you too. And I'm here for you. Cheering you on. You got this. Keep going. Keep loving yourself. Remember, your heart is where your home is. You got this. Are you carrying the harsh instead of the mellow? Namaste, Away and Thrive is about releasing negative influences and loving yourself first so you can thrive and become love instead of chasing it to survive and become the hero of your own story. Gratitude and intention are like sunlight and water for your soul. My appreciation and intention journal helps you start each day focused on joy and possibility by bringing your heart, brain, and beliefs into coherence. Ditch the to-do list and focus on the wins. The Ta-Da Victory Vibes journal helps you celebrate small victories so your confidence compounds day by day. Get started on your 90-day journey today to celebrate your wins, shift your energy, and empower your emotions. Not sure if you're in survival mode? My free guide, 7 Signs You're Stuck in Survival Mode, shows the patterns and how to start breaking free. Ready to reclaim your energy? How to break free from burnout is my blueprint for lasting success without self-abandonment. All of these resources are waiting for you. The links are in the description below.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your bell notifications so you can traverse the next trail with me. Stay sovereign, self-sourced, and remember,